Hello one, hello all, it is the gothiest ghost of them all, Caspa in the flesh. And it's time for a continuation of List Week, where we are going over the worst albums of the year. And don't worry, this is the last of the worst. After this, we are going into the best. We are moving more into a positive direction. But right now, let's get the negative out of here. Starting off with Drake, Honestly Nevermind. Now, I'll give this album credit where it's due. Drake did switch it up. He did try something new, but he stopped with the trying at the change. When it comes to trying, I do not think he was trying on the production choice end, because they just sound cheaply produced, a cheaply produced assortment of Afrobeat and house, and was not trying lyrically, was not trying when it comes to the vocal performances, and just delivering like so much lack of melody, so much lack of giving a powerful hook. Like, there was nothing on this thing I would want to sing along to. It was that bland, it was that boring, and why does it sound so cheap? Like, Drake is one of the most highest paid rappers right now. There is no reason why you should not be investing in your career and delivering us this garbage. But all I have to say is, thank God we have Beyonce Renaissance, because with this right here, this is doing a disgusting disservice to Afrobeat and house. And I know this probably got a lot of streams, but it just doesn't do anything for me personally. Following that is Ye with Donda 2, and I was not excited to check this out because I had to do leaps and bounds just to listen to this thing. And when I finally got to listen to it, I realized, holy shit, this album is not finished. And I highly doubt it's ever going to be finished. And I feel like what we got here is what we feared that Ye would be. The album Ye. You remember that album, right? Like, this right here is what Ye was trolling Ye to be. And we finally got it in full form, where we have tracks that do not sound done because Ye is mumbling on these tracks, in opposed to actually giving us lyrics. And when we do get the lyrics, they're probably some of the worst lyrics I've ever heard Kanye say. And it just really opens up the wound and just pours the salt on the wound that I got as I fell for any chance of this thing being great. And yeah, it's just super trash, super unlistenable, and one of the worst of the year, and probably Ye's worst album, hands down. Following that is Carson X. This, along with other projects from Playboi Carti's label, is definitely a different type of torture. It's so mind-numbing. It's badly produced. Like, it's rage rap, but not rage rap done well. And I could have added Destroy Lonely on here and Homicide, but I think this one will do just fine. I've been tortured enough. Like, the vocals are so dull, like, and non-engaging. The lyrics don't offer anything in any context whatsoever. Like, they don't pop at all. They barely bubble. Like, they have no memorability. And even if, like, you had me near the end of a cliff and my life depended on telling you a hook on here or reciting a hook on here, I would be a dead man. Then I would really be a ghost. It's just like he's another Cardi clone. He's another Cardi clone that wasn't given any special powers. It's just super weak, super repetitive, and annoying to listen to. Following that, we have easily the worst rock album of the year, Muse-Will, The People. Truly an album that just left me asking why. And not no why as in I just heard some brilliant philosophy and like deep political ideology. No, not that type of why. Why this thing was even released. Why wasn't there a redo? Why do they sound very obnoxious on here? Why is the production so awful? And it just sounds like they got into a studio and said, all right, guys, we're going to make a statement here, a political statement. I'm not sure what that political statement is. Just bear with me. I know you guys are out of practice. So let's just get this thing over with. All right. Okay. And the outcome was this, The Will of People. And, yeah. Definitely not a bright, defiant moment for Muse, and probably the worst album of their career. And I'm sure motivation was certainly a drive here. But I did not feel motivated. Okay, I lied. I did feel motivated. It did give me motivation. And that motivation was to never listen to this thing again. That was the motivation. Speaking of motivation, I truly and honestly try to motivate myself to sit through a whole Nav album and not be bored. Because along with his other albums, such as the one we're speaking on, Nav-Demons, Protected by Angels, the stone-faced vocals, the severe lack of lyrics, the bland production, it just sounds so emotionless. And honestly, I've just come to the conclusion that Nav is just not for me. If he's for you, fine. I personally, on a personal level, he's probably a great guy. He just doesn't make the music that I enjoy. And that's that. But what's not okay, and what's a bad idea, is MGK's mainstream sellout. I felt like pop punk had some gas left in the tank this decade, but it's truly and honestly running on E here. Granted, this is a smidge better than Tickets to My Downfall. In his defense, he probably did drop one of the best songs of his career here, Emo Girl, but it's more for the hook. The hook is so laughable and bad that it's good. And God, I just think these really missed the mark here. And the fetishization of depression and self-harm do not help. You know, you feel like the guy's struggling, but it just comes off as faux angst. It just comes off as something that would only appeal to people who don't really listen to punk. And who've never heard the classics before of pop punk. So yeah, terrible album. Don't want to hear it again. And there's all I could do is hope that there is elevation for MGK's artistic value, but I don't think that's going to happen. However, we did get another elevation of some sort, and that was the Black Eyed Peas. And Oh my god. Not to quote them, but was it oh my god? God, I feel like the sound has just been so bland that I can't even reference like what references here to. And speaking of references, what the fuck is up with the reference on the album we're going to speak on, Black Eyed Peas, Elevation, where they are referencing DMs from Adam Levine? Like, I really had to look back on this and see what date this came out and what date the leaked DMs came out, because I'm like, who's referencing who's cringe here? What's going on? And it turns out, yeah, they're referencing Adam Levine's leaked DMs. I don't know why. What is the point? It's not clever. It's not funny. It's just cringe. It's pure, unadulterated cringe. And I guess it complements the cringe of just taking the melodies from bangers of the 90s and early 2000s with these classic house songs and just putting your, you know, that's being charitable, ruining those songs by throwing a bunch of bland, boring vocals and terrible lyrics over it, and just making the production just as tasteless as it could possibly be. And it's a shame too, because I do feel they were off to a great start with their first album. If you could recall that first album. And yeah, it just gets really old really fast, just adding more garbage to the evolving pile of debris, which is their catalog. Speaking of debris, we have Kid Rock, Bad Reputation, number 3 on the list. And that's right, an hour and 11 minutes of Kid Rock going into full-blown bootlicker mode. And with these ridiculous, asinine right-wing talking points. And growing up as a kid in the 90s, I liked Kid Rock. I felt he was rebellious, in your face, like the rock meets rap thing I thought was great. And I felt like Kid Rock was like anti-cop, anti-establishment, fuck you, won't do what you tell me. Not as good as Rage Against the Machine, though. Those guys are top-notch. Like, yeah, let's be clear. He was never a rebel. He was never, like, raised on the streets. He's from the fucking hills of Beverly, okay? Or some rich place. He grew up as a spoiled rich kid. That is the reality. That's what happened. And, he, yeah, not even from a trailer park. Like, and he's just on here just spouting conservative bullshit. And when he's not hitting you with conservative bullshit, he's just giving you these bland, boring country love songs. And when he's not doing that, he's giving you a song bragging about how big his dick is. And I'm not even lying to you. So no thanks. And an even bigger no thanks. Get this shit out of my face to Tom Macdonald and album Calhoun-The Brave. Which, if you couldn't tell by the title, is a collab between him and another bigot, Adam Calhoun. And of course, you get the features, which are god fucking awful. Like, they literally sound like Tom Macdonald just doing a bad job at disguising his voice to make it seem like it's not him. Like, you get these disgusting conservative bars, and the result is just a slew of moronic right-wing ideologies left and right, and does, however, grab one truth, but then just packs it with conservative bullshit. and racism. Like, the transphobia on here, the misogyny, and everything is just on full display. It is the buffet for the bigots on here. And the lyrics are so contradicting. Like, you demonize the black community for being violent, which is, if you've studied how crime is done due to poverty or mental illness, and then you're going around saying how you're packing guns and you're just blasting on sight, you're just doing it for survival. Well, do I have to explain here? Do I have to explain anything further for you idiots out there? And yeah, it's just ignorance and racism on full display, and talks about not trusting the news. But weren't you on Fox News a few years ago, like having an interview with them? And you talk about like all these things being a plague to society, about poor decisions, but then you go around and talk about the poor decisions that you made. Like, there's really no like sense here. Like, and I heard conservatives say, oh, I only listen to rap music that makes sense. Then you throw this on. So if you came here for sense, you came to the wrong place. And you want to talk about freedom, but you're so quick to advocate to shut down other people's freedom, and as soon as people call you out on your bullshit, you play the victim. The production's so bland, it's weak. Hooks are annoying and trash. Just cringe bar contradiction after contradiction. And, I mean, hey, he's a conservative rapper, so what do you expect? But one thing I did not expect was to put this album at number 1, Iced Earth, a narrative soundscape. That's right, Iced Earth, legendary power metal band that I actually enjoy. I do love the first leg of their discography. I thought that was really great. But after a while, their music just started getting really dull. And then I saw they released a new album, so I was like, you know what the hell, let me check it out. Let me see what the Iced Earth and the gang are up to. So my morbid curiosity got the best of me, and through my efforts of giving it a try, I got a fucking spoken word album out of it. And it is the most faux epic thing. The production is just like so lacking in terms of intensity that you would get on an Iced Earth album. And it's just like remakes of their songs with spoken word on them, and the most boring production they could possibly find. Like, this is honestly one of those moments where you go to hell and you're like, oh man, I'm here. And then the guy says, oh, well, here's some Iced Earth albums. And I'm like, oh, okay, this place doesn't seem so bad. And then he says, but they're all spoken word. No! Yeah, it's that bad. Like, it's cheesy production with what sounds like the movie phone guy. Like, this is the equivalent of that. It sounds like the movie phone guy decided to do Iced Earth covers and couldn't afford to get a band and a great producer to interpolate the instrumentation. Like, it's that cringy. Like, it's trash, probably one of the worst albums of the year. No, I take that back. It is the worst album of the year. And yeah, that's my list. I'm done torturing myself. I'm done torturing you guys. And this has been something, and I'm gonna go to sleep. But stay tuned for tomorrow, because tomorrow we are going over the best songs of the year. And on Christmas Day, we are doing the best albums of the year. 55 best albums of the year. So stay tuned for that. I know it's midnight, but you know what I mean. This list has broken my brain.